Okay guys, so if everyone can see, I am in the midst of nature today. I decided that I actually found a really cool and neat place to just isolate myself and be in solitude by myself. Let me get up and show you a better placement so you can see get a better understanding of where I'm at, this is a really cool place. Like, I know it's off of Comanche Trail, which is so cool because I didn't even know they had this spot in particular. And then this is the other part of the trail. So today I decided that I'm going to choose a different venue so that way, I don't want to just focus on one place all the time. So I'm gonna start trying to be more mobile, if that makes sense. But so today, guys, I wanted to get on and talk about a couple of things, not just one or the other, but multiple things. And the biggest thing that's on my mind today is abuse. Okay, abuse is everywhere. Somewhere, anywhere, someone is struggling with abuse, whether it be emotional abuse, physical abuse, spiritual abuse, just like, it could be anything. Anything can be a weapon of abuse these days, and destruction. So I wanted to get on today and, basically kind of go over a couple of things about that, and I wanted to talk a little bit about discernment, because I thought that was a powerful thing to talk about. I think so many people don't listen to discernment. They don't really, or they don't have it. So I think it's a very important tool in my everyday life, and I don't know what I would do without it. So I wanted to get on and kind of just touch base about those few things real quick. Nice to see everybody that's online. Hi, everybody. So, here's the problem with abuse. Abuse is, it's hard to even grasp the concept of somebody wanting to be abusive or have those abusive-like tendencies towards us. We don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense. It's foreign, and it's just destructive and wicked and evil. And I've always gone through abuse pretty much my whole life. Whether it be friendships, family, any weapon that could be used against me in a fight was used against me, and I had to become my own sword. I had to become my own weapon, my own shield, because for the longest time there are so many mosquitoes, so I may not be sitting here very long. So this is actually a really good message, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get through it in one piece without all of them, sucking on me. So I'm gonna actually walk, since these bugs are all over me. Okay. So when I talk about abuse, it's like, okay, it's important to go over these things only because you have to know how to fight it. Like, you have to know how to survive certain kind of like abuse, or any abuse for that matter. For me, I didn't understand why. Like, that was the hardest tool in my recovery that was the hardest barrier in my way, because I didn't understand why I was being, treated that way. I didn't understand. For me, my mind and my heart couldn't really come to terms with why it was happening. And that was the biggest barrier in my way, because in order to really get ahead of the problem and in order to really conquer it and defeat it head on, you have to understand, and you can't be deceived by it. Like, you have to know why it's happening, you have to understand it, and you have to accept it in order to forgive. So you have to, ultimately you have to understand that the weapon that's being used against you, and you're not going to understand why, but at least recognize what's going on. That is the biggest thing. Clarity is the biggest thing. Sorry guys, I'm walking and it's gonna be hard doing this, but I love it. It's like talk radio. So I wanted to get on and kind of just go over that, because it was on my heart and mind. And I'll be completely completely blunt and extremely honest and transparent about it. Me and my dad are not seeing eye to eye, and I'm seeing things in a very different light since I was a young girl. So for me, hi Mom. For me, I didn't understand why we're fighting this way, why I'm being talked to this way, why is it happening? And all around me was just confusion, deceit, and if anyone's trying to control the words that come out of your mouth, that is not from God. That is a weapon of deceit. Like, that is not godly. And, for the longest time, I thought that there was one side to every story, and now I'm seeing that there's two. There was two sides to every story. And, it's hard because you want so badly to believe that the world is all good and doesn't want to see you fail. They want to see you just rise up. But unfortunately, the world does not want to see you rise up. The world wants to see you fail. The world is worldly. Let's put it that way. The world is just full of anger, animosity, and just sheer wicked and evil, tendencies. That's a part of life. For me, finding clarity in all of this was the biggest blessing out of anything. And the very moment that I found transparency, and the very moment that I became honest with all this hurt and this pain, was the very moment that I was able to face it and destroy it. Now, I wanted to get on here and tell you that you're not the only one that's been in an abusive situation. We all have, and it's just a part of everyday life. And it gets harder as you get older. It doesn't get easier. But the confronting of these acts gets easier with time and age and wisdom and maturity. And the more you're able to grasp these things, the easier it is to move past them. So guys, I wanted to let you know that there is there's more than one or two or three weapons of abuse of tools that can be used for abuse. So A, it can be somebody's words. B, it could be someone's actions. C, it could just be the way that they are around you, the way that they treat you, the way they carry themselves, how they hold you against them, how they aren't able to confront the hurt and the pain inside them and ultimately use it against you in a fight. And we're human, right? So we don't, we understand. We don't really accept it, but we understand it. And if you're really mature in your walk with God, you'll be forgiving. Immediately you'll forgive. You won't hold resentment or, unforgiveness in your heart, because ultimately that does you no good. It actually hurts you more than it develops you as a person or grows you. And why would you want to stunt your own growth? There's no need, So the way that I think about forgiveness is this. Every single time somebody hurts me or does something, and usually it's somebody that doesn't really know the heart of Christ, I forgive them instantaneously, because there's no need to hold on to that, because Christ forgave me. The very second that I misbehaved or did things the way that I shouldn't have, and they weren't according to his word, and they weren't honorable or virtuous, and they were dishonorable, and they were just deceitful and vile and evil, and they were of the sinful nature. And I mean, I could tell you stories, but I won't. So what I'm saying is forgive. You know what I mean? Even if it's the hardest thing that you could ever do in your life, and you don't understand how somebody could treat you such a way. It's like it doesn't resonate with you and it hurts you and it puts you in a complete terrifying and immobile place, and it just completely immobilizes you, and it destroys you, and it brings destruction and confusion and hurt and anguish and pain, still forgive that person. There's no need to hold on to it, because if you hold on to it, it really just hurts you. And so I wanted to get on and let everybody know that people tell me all the time, Shayna, how are you so forgiving? Well, Christ is. That's my answer. You know, if Christ can forgive me on my worst day, then I can forgive you on yours. And that's just the method to my madness. And I think it's very important to learn that now, because forgiveness is a big part of how we grow. A big, huge, colossal way. That is how we grow. And so many times in life we get lost, right? We surrender to the things of the world and we don't surrender to God. And so we get lost, and on top of, you know, in this isolated place with people we don't share the same values with, and then we're wondering why we're not really moving along with them. Like we're sitting aside to them, we're sitting by them, but we're not thriving, we're not where they are, and God said, you're supposed to be over here. And we don't listen because we, as our, you know, flesh-like and carnal body, we listen to it more than we listen to God. And that's what happened to me when I went off in some kind of crazy alternative plan, like lifestyle, when it wasn't where I was meant to be. And oh my gosh, a yellow jacket totally just came next to me. Okay, I'm fine. I'm okay. That's fine. It's cool. All right. Anyway, back to what I was saying before I was interrupted. Always be forgiving. Even when you don't understand something, or you can't find it in your heart to fathom why somebody would be that way or treat you or harm you that way with that kind of tendency in their heart, just immediately forgive them, because it really will create and build and strategically and spiritually, it will take you to a far better place than that of your own mindset and your own evil, despised plan in your head that says, I don't need them. And your pride, that's your pride. That's not Christ. Christ wants you to forgive. Christ wants you to love like he loved the church. He wants you to forgive like Jesus forgave you on the cross. That is all of what the purpose of this life is. Forgiveness is a huge part of how we grow and develop. Really, I'm serious. This is a very, very important message, because so many people don't want to forgive, and so they are stunting their own growth, and they hold on to it, and that resentment builds, and it collects, and it grows over time, and they take it out on their family and their friends and their children. And ultimately, now you're destroying your heritage. Now you are becoming a generational curse, and versus being the light in the world, you've now decided that instead of confronting these and growing, you wanted to hold on to them, and now it's destroying you and all that is around you. All that surrounds you is being completely run through the mud because you did. Because you didn't realize how important your life was and how much Christ loves you. And you didn't realize how forgiven you were. Guys, this is another message that really, really resonates and really is important to me. Forgive yourself, you know? There's no need to not forgive yourself. I've got people in my inbox 24/7 saying, Shayna, like, my baby mama this, my baby mama that, my ex-girlfriend this, my ex-boyfriend that. Forgive yourself. Forgive them. Move forward. If it didn't work, that means it wasn't in God's divine plan for you. It was not who you were meant to be with. Move on. But so many people want to stay in that same structured life where they're like, I know what I want. I know what I got coming in. I know that that person is for me. Well, if you knew that, then why are we having this conversation? Why are you bringing it to pass why do I need to know? So if you're messaging me and you're reaching out to me and there's something extraordinarily heavy on your heart and you're bringing it to my attention and you want my insight on it and you want my advice, here's my advice. And I'm not going to be hesitant, and I'm not going to hold back and withhold things from you, because it's important that you hear these things. If it doesn't work, move forward, not backward. And supply yourself with the kind of integrity, but only a healthy supply. Don't go all out with those kinds of things. Like, that's integrity is important, but there's a healthy mentality with all of these things. Peace, strength, wisdom, courage, maturity. Just there is a stable and healthy amount that you need to supply to every which quality, every which thing that you suffer with. You need to find a way to apply a little ounce to every single section, because it's so important. Because I know this morning I was talking to a friend of mine, and I'm struggling because this friend of mine gave me advice due to another situation. And this friend of mine and I got into an argument, and for nothing. I didn't really do anything. I'm being completely frank with you. Like, I make mistakes, and I will admit them. I've got downfalls all over the place. Like, I will be a bear witness to you. I will never lie to you, ever. And this friend of mine decided that he wanted to fight for no reason, and he did certain things that were out of character and out of line, and because he was drinking. And alcohol, that is what always leads to those statuses on Facebook, because alcohol leads you to a different mentality, a different characteristic, a different person. It shapes and molds a completely different what's the word? It turns you into a completely different person that you aren't even really, you know what I mean? You took all this time to formulate and to inform yourself and to grow yourself and to nurture and to, instead of dividing, but you conquered and you brought to life and you brought people to you. You formed, you corrected, you learned, you inspire, you conspire, you learn to completely shape yourself as a person and just develop and grow. And wow, it's just incredible to watch. And then alcohol comes in and it tears and sheds all of that away from you. So now someone that you really were is gone, and now you're left with nothing, because your soul was stripped of you. And it's really hard to witness, and I think that's why alcohol has been such a severe mechanism of destruction. I mean, just terrible. And I'll be the first to admit that sometimes alcohol just really enhances me. Like, it makes me, it kind of takes Shayna away from being so, like, mindful, and it tears every ounce of who I really am away from me. But alcohol had this tendency to kind of help me release and get away from the world. And God's asking me, why do you need away from the world? When I brought you here. I brought you to this world and to this earth. I created you in my image because I wanted you to be in it, and I wanted you to experience it and witness to people and to bring people to my kingdom. How are you going to do so when you're drunk? So this friend of mine, and I guess we got off on a tangent. Sorry. This friend of mine, I love them with all my heart. I do. But alcohol is actually destroying our relationship, our friendship, anything we're meant to have. And that happens. And what he's doing is a form of abuse. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Abuse it can come in so many different shades in life. Abuse can come from drinking. Abuse can come from speaking abruptly or without thinking. Speaking without any guidance, direction, or instruction. If you speak without guidance, direction, or instruction, you're really, like, my biggest thing is, like, the biggest deal for me in this life is when somebody speaks without thinking. And I was a candidate. I did that when I was young, and I know what it's like. I know what it's like to not think. You think that this is a normal, we normalize it, because for everybody it's like, why do we need to think before we speak? Like, I know enough. And you just blurt out the first thing that's on your mind. And this is what's killing relationships. This is what's killing marriages. And I always get nervous talking about these huge things, because these are big, this is controversial. This is a huge deal. And I'm always worried that I'm going to upset somebody or say something I don't need to say. And then there's so many bugs out here. I'm not one with nature. If anyone wants to know, Shayna Leanne Mitchell's not one with nature. Okay? All right. I'm glad we got that settled. So don't ask me to go camping. Just kidding. Unless there's a hotel. No, but really, back on topic. So I thought that it was very important. This was a very, very important and deepened issue in my soul, and I reside there, and I wanted to kind of shed a light and share something that was most intimate to me and my heart, and become vulnerable for a minute and let you know that abuse has been a huge part of my life, whether it be physical, whether it be spiritual, whether it be emotional, whether it just be mental. And you are not alone in it. You are so just extraordinarily loved, and he's in the fire with you. He's always there. You think you're alone. You think you feel so empty. You feel like an empty vase. You feel like nobody understands you. There's not a person on this world that can see you in the same light. And you're like, I just don't understand. Why do I feel so alone? Jesus, why? And he said, I'm with you. I never left you. I never forsaked you. I was here this whole time. And quite frankly, it offends me that you didn't see me with you holding your hand. And my dad and I are not on good terms right now, because he wants me to confront or say things about myself that I don't want to say entirely, and that's a form and weapon of control that I don't really agree on. And so Father's Day was a little troubling for me, but it's a whole other topic. Life's just so short, and I want to understand why someone would want to cling tightly to something that they believe so drastically, to form a huge space between two people rather than being conjoined and centered and together and just hold together and supported and connected and just continuing the gospel and reading and growing every day. But instead, they want to stay in this place of anger, resentment, or just frustration and pride, and you will say what I need you to say. So there's a weapon of control there, and I will not give in to that or cater. So things are hard sometimes, and I just wanted to let you know that you're not the only one that struggles with abuse. All of y'all are not the only ones that see things with a different perspective in life. And there's a reason why the world struggles, because it caters to the world and to the flesh and to the carnal body, and they don't cater or tend to their spirit. So with that being said, guys, discernment is very important also. Please hear me. Discernment is big. It's huge. So actually, I want to read a couple of scriptures on discernment, And if you are still with me, I know that I have been talking for quite a bit, and it's always okay if you do not want to get on. That's totally fine. But I am going to read something on discernment. Let's try Psalm 119:66. Psalm 119. Psalm 119. So bear with me for a moment as I find it, okay? All right. Close, close, close. Hi, Ray. How are you? Let's see. I am so glad that everybody wants to get online. That's so cool. It's encouraging. Okay. So let's go ahead and double check because I think I'm at the right place. I think. So hold on, guys. 1 second. 1 second. I hate putting the phone down, but I've got to for just a moment. So it's Psalm 119:66. Okay, so I'm almost there. All right, I think I'm here. I think I have reached the destination. Okay. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I believe in your commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray. But now I keep your word. You are good and do good. Teach me your statutes. The insolent smear me with lies, but with my whole heart I keep your precepts. Their heart is unfeeling like fat, but I delight in your law. It is good for me that I was afflicted, that I might learn your statutes. The law of your mouth is better to me than thousands of gold and silver pieces. Your hands have made and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn your commandments. Those who fear you shall see me and rejoice. But I have hoped in your word. I know, O Lord, that your rules are righteous, and that in faithfulness you have afflicted me. Let your steadfast love comfort me, and according to your promise, your servant. Let your mercy come to me that I may live, for your law is my delight. Let the insolent be put to shame, because they have wronged me with falsehood. As for me, I will meditate on your precepts. Let those who fear you turn to me, that they may know your testimonies. May my heart be blameless in your statutes, that I may be put to shame. My soul longs for your salvation. I hope in your word. My eyes long for your promise. I ask, when will you comfort me? For I have become like a wineskin in the smoke, yet I have not forgiven your statutes. How long must your servant endure? When will you judge those who persecute me? The insolent have dug pitfalls for me, and they do not live according to your law. All your commandments are sure. They persecute me with falsehood. Help me. They have almost made an end of me on earth. But I have not forsaken your precepts, and your steadfast love give me life, that I may keep the testimonies of your mouth. So those are really powerful scriptures. I don't know if you noticed. Statutes, precepts, those are some pretty big words. So ultimately, the message here was about abuse and the unwillingness to really form and develop as your person grows and, as you get older, because we have this sense of wanting to hold on to pride. But also there's so many people that don't value their, or don't have discernment. And it's like, it's my bread and butter. It really is. Every single day I struggle less because I carry it with me. I discern myself with what I need to, and I listen to God's word, and I listen to God talking to me, and I hear him when he speaks, and I want to develop, I want to form, I want to, become informed, I want to become knowledgeable, I want to be teachable, I want to learn. And so many people don't. They said, I want to stay here. I don't want to be up here. I want to stunt my growth, and I want to sit down right here. I'm fine here. I resonate. I'm good. God sees me. I'm good. I don't need to further educate myself. I don't need to further myself in any kind of way. I am doing just fine. And that's the absolute disadvantage you're going to have for the rest of your life, because that is the opposite of what God's word says. God's word says, don't be a fool. Crave knowledge. Don't be foolish. All right, guys, take care. I think I've talked enough. I hope you all have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching.